Good afternoon. Welcome. All right. Oh, so we'll see how we go today. I have cement being hammered. It's actually quiet right now, but it's been hammering and chipping away at cement all day. So we'll see how we go. If you can hear it, if not, then I will enjoy it all on my own. All right. Unless you want me to shift the sound so you can hear the jackhammers too. I'm like, who am I to keep you from having that experience? Like, how rude of me. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? So I put out an email. I'm not sure if you got it. You may have just stumbled across or no. Okay, we start here at 2 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time every Thursday. And I have a reflection. I want to share a reflection or discuss a reflection because I feel like it's a key part of how you can navigate or how you can choose to navigate. Now, don't get me into choose, don't choose. Do we actually really have a choice? Blah, 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 right? Right now, we're just starting simple, ladies. Did you get your hair cut? Yes. Yeah. All right. I know I get distracted by certain things. That's one of them. People changing, shifting. Lisa's got her hair out, all flowing. Yeah, looks like she just washed it. All lovely locks. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? I got mine up because I have the plumber here and he's in the other bathroom. So I have had a shower. However, I have not washed my hair. Reflection. All right, let's get into it. So I'm Cynthia Harrison, Mystic Medicine Woman, here to talk to you around how you can be a first responder in your life. How about that? Well, what could that mean? So if you read the email, you get a bit of an idea, or maybe not. Maybe not. Because my reflection today is based on clients, right? And what they have been experiencing and how even with a lot of intellect and knowledge, the struggle is real. Struggle is real, all right? So I spoke to a lot of people yesterday, some new and some students, clients that have been with me for many a year. And it's so interesting. This is why I'm bringing it to you. So reflection on how we react and respond. What is the difference between, so here we go with this first responder. Now, the reason I'm bringing in first responder is I have been a first responder in my life or in many roles, right? In the fire brigade, police force, army, right? I'm a qualified medic, right? So if I'm driving along and there's a car accident, I have a responsibility to stop and see what's going on, right? Like a nurse or a doctor or whatever. So when I'm sitting on an airplane, when I was sitting on an airplane, and it doesn't happen so much now, but a few years ago, every time I flew, there was a medical emergency, and I'd be sitting there looking around because they call for a doctor or a nurse. I'm neither, yet I have qualifications that I can support your life, right? I can support the saving of your life through, advanced first aid and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sitting there and I look around and I go, no one's moving. Okay, when do I get up? And of course, if somebody's having, and it happens a lot too, something to do with their heart. So energetically, it's very strange what we would do, but it works. I won't mention any names, but I was with a woman who was having a heart attack. And I did a very peculiar move and worked her triple warmer, and she was good. She didn't want to go to the doctor. I said, you must go and get yourself checked out. She said, I'll go in the morning. And she did go in the morning. I can't force anybody. I can't chuck them in a car and make them go. She went, and she had a heart attack, a mild one, but heart attack nonetheless. Right? So, in some ways, I think damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if I hadn't have done anything to support her, maybe she would have gone straight to the hospital or straight to the doctor, right? But I know this woman, and she would have probably just died. Right? Like, oh, do you know people like that? I mean, you literally they're on death's door before they'll actually, and even then, there's a lot of people in my family like that, just saying, tough as, I don't know what, concrete that the plumber's trying to smash out of the bathroom floor. Right, so first responder. And so as I'm listening to experiences, I'm in their field, I'm in the energy, I can feel it in my body, I can feel what you're feeling. And in fact, I can feel your relationship with parts of yourself from way back. It's so beautifully bizarre. I was sharing this yesterday that I was with a woman, I was taking her through some trauma work, and she was in relationship with an aspect of herself. And I knew when that aspect of herself gained her trust, or the opposite, she gained its trust, right? That part of herself that was scared. And I felt it like she leant in. And I said, what's happening now? And she said, this part of me put her hand out to me. I felt that, not in exactly the same way, but do you get what I'm saying? Why am I telling you this? Because when I'm sitting with you and I'm tracking on multiple levels and dimensions what's going on for you and guiding you, right, in how to best react or respond, okay? So think about this, maybe put in the chat, what is reacting? What does that mean to you? And what does responding mean to you? Do they sound the same? Do they feel the same? What is the difference between a skilled responder and a novice? For instance, if you're in a fire, you're in a bushfire and you're trying to support and save your property or your neighbor's property or the cattle or whatever, and somebody who is in the fire brigade or the Country Fire Association, the CFA we call it in Australia, any of those or the state emergency services, whatever it is in your country, in your county, what you call it, right? What is the difference? Put in the chat. What's the difference? There's no necessarily right or wrong. I just want to know what you think, feel, right? Because where we're going, this will help you. This will help you. So if you're a civilian, it's a little different. So if you're not trained, so are you talking to me? I can't see anything in the chat. Come on, I'm looking. I'm going to pause. I'm going to get the other thing up too so I can see if there's anybody talking in here. What is the difference? So if you're watching from any of the social medias, yeah, hi, Paul. I can see you. Yeah, what's the difference for you? So I'm going to rattle off a few things just off the top of my head. How I would respond and why I'm good at responding, meaning good, and I'll go into what good, bad, indifferent. I mean, it's not good or bad. It's just how I can respond is based on my training and my ability to have awareness and a practice and training, right? Over and over and over again. Right? So in the military, we would strip and assemble our weapons blindfolded over and over and over again. You might think, why are we doing all these, rote sort of practices? It's like driving a manual car. Anyone drive a manual car? Right? All the gears. How long was it before you could drive without looking at where the gear was, what gear you were in, or where the clutch was? Most people drive autos now, but I love manual vehicles, right? So I've always had manual vehicles, right? And because I'm not a truck driver now, but I have all my truck licenses. And some of those vehicles have, 8 forward and 8 reverse gears, right? And you've got a double clutch. So I'm not going to go into all of that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And you're not going, clutch in, move, like get stuck there and then trying to get it. Like it's a smooth motion. There's practice, there's training. You with me? I'm going somewhere. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere that, I think, I know because the clients that I see, this is what's tripping them up. And you all know it because it's not like rocket science, yet it's not practiced. So this is my point, okay? Bear with my story. So we have people that are trained in particular skilled what would you call it? It could be an activity, it could be a sport, it could be a way of knowing, right? They're skilled. They're only skilled because they're practiced. They have the knowledge, but they put it into practice. Having the knowledge is a load of crock. If you can read, and this is what I used to train university students. They would, people that wanted to be psychologists or social workers or anything like that, right? They go to university and then they go on to their placements and we would supervise them. And they'd come in with all this book knowledge, right? My job was to give them that praxis, theory and practice together, praxis, right? So that they can take that knowledge and see how it works on the ground. It's not just the work on the ground, but also the rules, regulations, all of that. So it's bringing the two together. So in your spiritual development, you can say heaven and earth. But in your everyday life, it's like, okay, what parts of you are being like the alarms going off and you're responding? What does that mean? What does it mean when you're reacting? And why does it even matter? So I was thinking about this earlier because it was such an aha for this woman yesterday that I thought, well, she pays me good money, but I'm going to bring it in as best I can for you today for free, right? That if you have, we used to say VCRs because nobody could, um, program their VCR back in the day. Some of you don't even know what that is probably, but right. So let's use your phone. How many of you know what your phone can actually do? And maybe you don't even know what you don't know, right? Just think about that. So you have this thing that you use probably regularly. You might even be watching me on your phone right now. It's on the manufacturer's setting. Do you know all the stuff that it can do? Yes or no? No, no blame, no shame, no. It's just reflection, okay? Right? Why? Again, no blame, no shame. It's just like, why? Is it time? Is it because it's not important to you? It's because so far you haven't needed it? What about your body? You. Now we're getting to the good stuff, right? I just had to give you a little intro. But what about you? What about your body, your vehicle? Let alone the vehicle you actually drive, because many of you would have no idea how to even check the tire pressure or what tire pressure to have in your car. Again, no blame or shame, because maybe you have somebody that does it. Maybe you just, take your car in for maintenance. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just drive it till it dies. What's the correlation to how you are with yourself? Do you just drive it till it dies? Do you kick the tires occasionally? Or do you actually look at them to see whether there's any nails or, like your feet, your hands, maybe your hair? Do you just drive it till it screams and then you do the maintenance? I'm bringing it up because this is what I'm seeing. And when we can bring our consciousness to it, you no longer have to go into these places of spinning and behaviors that are creating more difficulty for you. Right? So, if we think about our body, are we traveling on the base manufacturer's setting? Who's the manufacturer of your body? Like, do you know anything? Like, I didn't get a book with my body. Did you? When I had kids, I didn't get a book. And thank goodness I went to what's called a mothercraft home. Not by choice. Well, by choice a little bit because, I was so young and they sort of threatened me, So that was my choice. But I made a choice, right? I made that choice and I made it consciously. And I learned how to parent. And I'm so glad that I did. I didn't need a book because I had people to support me. All the parts of your body, all the parts of your system. How do you know what's going on? We put, right, just mind my words here. We put our trust in the hands of a few. I was going to say who wear white, but they don't wear white anymore. And in fact, I'm wearing white, so hello. But, back in the day, we used to wear the white coats. We put all our trust, what they say is God. And It may be true, it may be not true, it may be great for you, it may be not great for you. Having discernment, how we get information, like your nervous system, or what happens when you feel love. Let's go to something a little bit less triggering, although I'm here to trigger you. I'm here to push your buttons so that you can see and be conscious of how you're responding. Or are you reacting? Are you coming on and going, oh, she's full of it, and pressing the button and getting off because there's something that's right? And that's cool too. Just reflecting on that. When you feel love, when you feel emotion, what if when you feel scared? Deb's just come on. When you feel scared or when you feel pain. I'm going to say the scared and the pain tend to be the ones that smack us in the face a little more than the others. You know, the others are still there. So let me just check this chat. React before thought, respond with thought. One has been trained, whereas the other has not been trained. Actually, they've both been trained if you're talking about respond and not respond. One's been trained consciously and one's been trained unconsciously. So, but yeah, good, yeah. I know what you meant, but yeah, responding is with knowledge, whereas reaction is emotional without thought most of the time. Yeah. Yes. So, you know, it's like I said, not rocket science, is it? You sort of have it. I mean, you've heard all of this. Everything I say often you've heard before, right? You've heard in some way, shape, or form. I hear people talking and I go, yeah, that's good. But are they conscious of what they're actually saying? That's the key. Are we just regurgitating things we've heard that feel okay when we speak? They feel okay in our body. If we speak and they don't feel okay, there's fear there. Meaning there's a sensation in your body, and that is your trigger. That is your little fire, right? So the fear of feeling pain, or you feel the pain of the people. So just say you're a first responder. And I started out, so some of you just come on, but I started out saying that when I sit with you, even online, and I'm working with you, I feel your pain. I feel your fears. I feel all the aspects, and that's what I'm sort of bringing the knowledge in, the data that comes together, right? It's almost like I'm not transcribing, you know, it's like this code that I'm bringing together so that, you know, it's all your information, but you can see it more consciously. And then how that's playing out so that you have a choice. So this is around your choice on that real basic human level choice, not that's the spiritual understanding of choice, right? So those of you that understand those teachings, we're just doing this every day, how we can move through the world and meet what's happening with us. And I'm going to give you some examples, but let's just see. So if we're driving along and so this happened a few years ago in Perth, just outside my property there, a woman rolled her car into like an empty riverbank, which is just at my gates. So the car was upside down. She was stuck in it. And I went and made sure she was okay. And, you know, she was a bit off. But stayed with her, all the rest of it, got her out and all that. The point is, are you feeling the fear? And if you don't have anything conditioned to you, you're good. You will respond as you've been trained. I've been trained in all that in the army, right? We get trained. We'll be driving along in the bush and we'll come across a vehicle that's upside down and we've got to, go into action. Like, I've been trained in all that. But what if you weren't? Or even if you are, it triggers something of maybe you were in a car accident. And when you see a car accident, it brings up all your stuff, or something around blood or injury or even death. It brings up a sensation in the body, which then you're reacting to that, not to the data at hand. You follow? I'll keep going and we'll pull it together. Okay, so some of us that are sensitive, we can feel it, right? So if we sit across from danger, we feel it, then what would we do? Some of you have already been trained in this to some degree. We feel it. FEAR, right? We feel it. And we'll go deeper into this in the membership, but I just want to touch on it. We feel it, we accept it. On some level, we accept it and we utilize the power or the voltage to act in a considered or a conscious response, which equates to saving lives or staying unharmed. Like if you're a first responder, right? If you're running on, so I can give you another example that might be more helpful. If when I was working with kids that had a lot of trauma, and again, I would feel that in my body. And if I didn't know that what I was feeling, like if I wasn't aware, if I wasn't conscious that what I'm feeling isn't what's happening in the moment, right? I could say, whatever it is, it could be I'm picking up on their fear. I'm picking up on the fear between us, the fear of the possible outcome of what the decisions are going to be made, blah, 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 right? There's fear. We feel it. And I saw it constantly, and I used to do it myself until I understood not to make a decision based on what I felt in that way. There's intuition, but until you understand the refinement of intuition and are conscious in the moment, not in your past conditions, and I'll go into this a little more in a moment, then you're making a decision based on you're an emotion that's being triggered from the past. It's got nothing to do with what's happening in the moment. And for me, that was critical because I was making decisions that would change these children's lives one way or the other. And so if I was making decisions based on my trauma or what was coming in from my past or what touched my heart, like, feel their pain. Does that make sense? So I had to be able to meet that amount of fear, to center, to be decisive, to be able to discern through all of that information. So let me break it down a little bit. And hopefully I haven't freaked too many of you out. you're still here. I think social media is just, gone. Yeah, see you later. That's fine. Because majority of humans are going to complain or say they're struggling with something. Something's happening in the world, in their neighborhood, in their house, in their relationship, in their body, and they'll be angry about it, sad about it, critical about it. Like a lot of the time there's so much rage. It's like, and all that colorful, beautiful language comes out like firecrackers, like I said in the email, right? Right? Whatever that might be. It's discharging the energy, but it's unconscious. You can discharge that voltage, that charge that's held in the situation consciously and direct that energy to be, I was going to say more fulfilling, but that's not the right word, to be able to be utilized for your health and wellness. Or if you have to lift something heavy or get somebody out of the way, right? There are the reactions that are autonomic nervous system reactions, right? You touch something hot and, what I'm talking about is where we are being run by our emotions, by our fear, which bring in the emotions, right? So when we are making a decision and we are scared, you're more likely to make the decision to make your, and this may trigger you, just put a little mark in your journal or something. If this triggers you, you're more likely to make a decision that helps you feel better rather than what's best for the situation. I think I might say that again. When we are, just say you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter, with children, with partners, with family, or maybe with your employer, or I don't know. Everything is a relationship. Things are happening around you and you will feel it. The things that you feel most, right? The sensation in your body that really has a charge, has the most trigger, has the most hit, has the most information, has the most data. So when we can acknowledge that, and this is the training and the practice, and we're going to go over to do that in a moment, when we are becoming the first responders for ourselves, like what do we need when we feel this sensation, when we experience this in our body? What do? We don't go running around in circles or blank out or freeze or fight the people around us that are trying to help us. All these things that are just that, the mammal that is trying to survive, or the wild cat. How do we respond? How do we get awareness? So the practices, everything that I teach you is around this, whether it's for your spiritual development or every day, because I'm hearing the struggles, and they're real struggles, but there's such simplicity in how we can actually see it and respond through that awareness. The pain isn't so what's the word? Dilapidating. That's not the right word, but it's right. The information's not being corrupted because there's those conditioned patterns playing. When you get scared, certain movies start playing in the background. And the more that you're aware of those movies playing, the more you can acknowledge them. You say, this is that. Okay, yep, I feel this. I'm scared. Breathe. Acknowledge it. If you know the fear process, do that, the FEAR. Meet it with the same or more contraction, diffuses it, and allows that energy to be utilized in the body for what? To respond. When we are reacting, the amount of charge that's going on. So, for instance, you know, and I'll say this, and then we'll head over and we'll do some processes. But when you have a fear of something, so, you know, bring something to mind that maybe you feel in your body, right? Like something that makes you feel sick in the stomach. Like you're thinking of something that makes you angry or some emotion, you will feel it in your body. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were telling me a story and they felt sick in the stomach and so angry at this inanimate object that was happening in their environment. I understand that, but what the fear was not the object, was not the thing that the world was doing out there. It was a trigger, because ultimately it's just a piece of steel, right? What the fear was the remembrance of the past where there was a sensation that created a pain or a discomfort that they didn't want to feel again, and that represented that past pain and suffering. When that's brought to mind, then the projection and the manifesting and the building of the charge towards something you don't want, that's a perfect manifestation. Build the charge. How we manifest or how we produce the life that we want is through magnetic force. If you're consciously doing it, you go, oh, look what I manifested. And if you're not, you go, oh, life sucks. Look at my life. No, you manifested it. Awesome. Good job. Look at how powerful you are. All you got to do is tweak that system. All you got to do is tweak the system. So every time, something, I don't want to experience comes up, I go, yeah, good on you. It's full responsibility. All right, well, let's try that one again. Okay. And, it's not all roses and daffodils. I said to this particular, I wish she was on here so that, we could have a chat. But I said to her, so how do you feel at the end? I said, is this resonating or are you feeling like it's a load of BS? And she goes, a little bit of both. Because I knew, because I could feel it, right? So I just stated it because people were scared to tell me the truth. I'm like, tell me the truth. All right. Okay. So what part of it was difficult or challenging, or you thought, that's a load of, I'm not sure I can do that. And we talked about it. It was all of this. So when we broke it down, she could see it so clearly. And that moment shifted everything because there was so much contraction and all she could see was those possibilities. And when we opened to these other possibilities, the mere fact that what she was scared of may not even happen to start with, and how she could start to work, as we've been talking about, right, to shift the potential of that. And if it did go ahead, she now has these other ways of knowing that she can respond, not react. It's not about not experiencing fear or stuff you don't want to experience, right? It's not about that. It's about how you can consciously be with it, how you can navigate it with full awareness and consciousness. That's the difference. I keep saying consciousness, 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 not to, right? I don't know what else to say. When we can, that is the healer. Slow it down, right? With consciousness and connect to what is scaring you, right? So whether that's a trauma or a, so all right, I got to change over because I've got to call at 3, so we've got to go on to our membership. So just food for thought, right? Starting to acknowledge, there you are, that familiar or unfamiliar awareness of a sensation. It might be something you feel all the time. It might be a new one. But acknowledging it, is there an emotion? Sensation, what's the emotion? If that's all you do, like you're so far on your journey, right? If that's all you do is go, oh, I've got a sensation in my body, which is fear, or you're scared of something, there's an emotion that's attached to it. What is it? And be okay with it. If you need to cry or you need to process it in a certain way, then do that. But I'm going to suggest that we have an awareness not to process it by vomiting our fears on other people and into the world, because this is what's creating our reality. And we're all doing it. And while we're all doing it, this is the world that we have, right? So all of us just doing our own little bit helps everybody, helps everything. So I think we'll leave it at that. And if people got questions or whatnot, you can let me know. But those of you that I work with or, are in Relevate or come onto these, contemplate this, because it's the key to really what I've been talking about. But I'm just saying it in real layman's terms today. I'm just like, boom, boom, right? What you're scared of. So we're going to change over now so that I'm not late. But yeah, put in the chat, connect with me. You can see wherever you're watching from, where the links are. If you want to join our Holistic Mystic Mastermind, that's what WMM stands for. There's a link there, and you can get all the replays and whatnot. So until we meet again, may the blessings be. And just reflect, sit in contemplation. Are you reacting or responding? And maybe that's enough in every moment. Am I responding consciously? Am I conscious of am I observing my behavior? Or am I just willy-nilly doing stuff and looking back and going, oh, I don't even remember doing that? Okay. Much love. May the blessings be.